Welcome to this fabulous Monday morning in April, where we have a lot of energies moving on the planet. Darla mentioned them yesterday, which was astrologically, and really honoring and embracing the influx of energy on the planet that is pushing up our issues, of course. That's what we are here to do, right? Heal the blocks that stop us from feeling connected and from feeling the love and from feeling the oneness. And today's topic is actually designed just to do that very thing. And it's how to use our intuition to get tapped in, tuned in, turned on to the answers, to the solutions that our bodies need, that our minds need, that our emotional well-being needs. And I want to start off with saying you're not broken and you don't need to be fixed. So that's really important in doing this work, is to understand that we are not broken as we go through our human journey. And when we feel separated from love, and when depression sets in, and when we feel rejection and abandonment, and identify with our pain body, or with the relationships that aren't working out, or with our emotions, when we identify ourselves with that particular struggle, it will perpetuate more struggle. So really, the first step in doing this work and realigning is to tell yourself, I am not broken. I do not need to be fixed. There is something that's out of alignment that I am aware of. And that part of what's out of alignment can be really fascinating as we check into ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. When we check in and see that something is off. So we use the emotional scale, 0 to 10, to determine if it's our emotional level. And by the way, when it's our physical body that's talking really loudly, what will happen is the emotional scale will drop dramatically, because we're so interconnected. And when we feel separated from love, that will confront us emotionally. So notice our thoughts, what our thoughts are doing, what our emotions are doing, what our body is saying to us, will all help us to be able to regulate. And being mindfully aware that the body is a temporary communication device. So I want to encourage everyone to write that down. This body, this vessel, is a temporary communication device. It's telling me when something is out of alignment. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm broken. It doesn't mean I need to be fixed. There's a difference in saying I need to be fixed or I'm out of alignment to the truth of who I am. I need to be fixed connotes that something is broken inside. And being able to make that distinction will be helpful. So I am not this body. I am not these emotions. I am not these thoughts. That's really important to become the observer of how the human experience is showing up for us. And by saying, I am not these things that I am experiencing, it helps, number one, to bring the SUDS down, your subjective unit of distress, that is saying, this is really painful and it must be that I'm broken. It helps you to separate it so that you can bring your distress down. So when I say we are not disconnected, we are just unaware of what the truth is that's happening within ourselves. And the truth that will set us free is really knowing that we aren't broken, who we are is love, loving, and lovable. We're just in a pattern with our thoughts, our feelings, and our body communicating to us that some things that we're out of alignment to that love. So awareness, absolutely, we talked about this yesterday, is the first step in healing any pattern, becoming mindfully aware of where I'm at on that emotional scale. And of course, 0 being hopelessness, and 10 being joy at the top of the scale, and 5 being neutral. Being mindfully aware of, I am here because my thoughts have been telling me that I am broken. My thoughts are telling me that something's really bad and wrong here. But what if none of it is bad and wrong? It's all just reflecting back to us the journey of the human experience and where we're at due to our thought processes. So where we are currently right here, right now, is due to the past thoughts and feelings, and bringing those into our current reality creates the disharmony that we're currently experiencing. So today, I want to encourage all of us to open up our intuitive centers. And this is a precursor for Saturday's training that I hope you all can join, and you can DM me. You can join in person or virtually. And understanding that what heals all of this, all of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual blocks, is using our spiritual gift of intuition, of feeling that connection again. And checking in with yourself and saying, all right, what feels out of alignment for me today, right here, right now? What is my body saying that's telling me I'm out of alignment? What are my emotions doing? Where are they at on the emotional scale? And honoring wherever you're at without putting shame or judgment on it. That's really important to say, okay, I'm not these emotions. I am not this body that's communicating very loudly to me. And I am not these thoughts that cause me to feel separate and defective and alone or lonely. None of that is the truth of who I am. That raising the level of awareness that I have been creating these feelings of pain and distortion and separateness due to my thought processes. Okay, so let's just check in with yourself now. What is your body saying? What are your thoughts saying? What are your emotions saying? And become the observer of these parts of you. And by observing the different parts, then we can address each part separately. So let's start by addressing the body. And this is a great exercise. Whenever I do forgiveness exercise, my hand goes on my heart. And so I want to encourage you to do that. I forgive myself for thinking, feeling, and believing that this body is defective. Ooh, there is a lot of energy on that one, as I said it. So take a deep breath. I forgive myself for thinking, feeling, and believing that I am defective. I forgive myself for thinking, feeling, and believing that I and this body are inadequate, deficient in any way. So we want to start by raising our awareness to see where we have those blocks, and then bring in some compassion and forgiveness for ourselves for the judgments that we have held on the body, on our thoughts, and on our emotions. That, oh, I can't feel hurt. I can't feel angry. I can't feel sad. I can't feel this pain in my body because that makes me weak. So I forgive myself for thinking, feeling, and believing that I was weak, that I am the issue that I am experiencing. And breathe that in. Okay, so we're identifying what the problem is, which is our disconnect from the truth of who we are. And we're identifying, even if you can't label it, you can say, what is my body communicating to me? What do my emotions feel? And I may not be able to know what my thoughts have been doing that have been causing this, but I can see what my thoughts are saying right now. And so I recommend journaling. Write those thoughts down. Now, some people will say, why do I want to write down such negativity? Doesn't that create more negativity? When we ignore the pain, when we ignore the problem, then we are resisting it. We're not moving into the AWAKEN acronym of acceptance. And being aware, what's communicating to me right now? Is it my thoughts, or is it my feelings? Is it my body? Being aware of that, and then claiming, even though I feel that, it doesn't mean I'm defective. Okay. I am not, and repeating, I'm not my body. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not these emotions. These are all communication devices for me. They are telling me what is out of alignment. Isn't that beautiful? Every challenge you are experiencing right now is a call for you to come back to the truth of who you are. So let's sit with that for just a moment. Whatever is calling to your attention, it's saying, I'm calling to you to let you know where you have been out of alignment. And it doesn't mean you're defective. Okay, so now we're aware of what's happening. Can we neutralize the judgments that we have on the issue, whatever is blocking us? Whether it's, so I'll use my own example. When I wake up and my legs are numb and there's a tingling going on, and I'm saying to my legs, hey guys, what's up? Now, I am not this pain. Now I notice some ruminating thoughts that when I get up out of bed, that it's hard to move the body. And I'll say, what's going on? You're okay. You're okay, because I hear you and I acknowledge that even though I have this problem, it's okay. It doesn't mean, and my thoughts will go, does this mean that by the time I'm 70 years old, I'll need a wheelchair? Does this mean that by the time that I'm, I'll hit 60 next year? So does it mean that it's going to stop me from doing the things that I love? So we project worry into the future, and we go into the past, and we pull up, what did I do wrong that created this problem? And that's where we become really conflicted in self-judgment. So the term, it is what it is, it's here right now communicating to me. So thank you, body. Thank you for communicating to me that something is off. That's all. Thank you for communicating that I am out of alignment with the truth of who I am. And that right there will bring down SUDS, your distress level. And even measuring that distress level, right now in this body, I'm feeling so much pain, or in this head of mine, I'm feeling so much pain. 0 to 100%, I'm feeling 80% pain, or I might even be 100% pain. So we're aware of the level of pain we're experiencing in the pain body, the emotional body, the physical body. And then we go to what's the story in our head about this pain. I don't want pain. It means it's really bad. It means I'm bad. It means I'm broken. Know this story. Write out this story in your journal. Now we're mindfully aware of what the story is that we've been telling ourselves that keeps us blocked from our truth, from our intuition. And by rating your SUDS, it raises your level of awareness and helps you to say, okay, I am not this pattern. I am not this issue. I'm not the body. I'm not the thoughts. I'm not the emotions. Who I am is love. I forgive myself for being out of alignment with love. Okay, good job. The energy calmed down in the group a little bit. We want to really acknowledge that all of these things are happening for me and not to me. They're for my own awakening. Okay, so how can we then access the truth of who we are? Now that we've identified this is what's blocking, we separate ourselves from it and we're able to rate the SUDS. We separate ourselves from the pattern and then we claim who I am is love. And breathe it in. What that does is we're reframing where we felt defective and broken. We're reframing that into who I am is love. And then what happens is we start tapping into our heart center that is intuitive. We start tapping into the truth of who we are, is who I am is love. And I am gifted and I am grateful that I am learning what those gifts are. Now, if that one feels too far from the truth, it's I am learning how to be more tapped in and tuned into myself. So let's talk about those spiritual gifts. What are those spiritual gifts that you have that have helped you through other times? And this is where it's important to just in your journal to reflect, take some time with your journal to reflect when you were in pain. What helped you through that pain that was not a substance, that was not a person? It was some insight that maybe you gained from that person, or something that you learned about the truth of who you are. And for me, my dark night of the soul was that first year without my children. It was learning that I am not those identities that I was forming my self-esteem around, which was career, mother, and wife. I am not those identities. And actually that gave me a little bit of reprieve, because I felt like such a failure in those identities, that when I claimed I was not those identities, that I am something greater that I can't, that I'm not even aware of at this moment that I'm feeling the pain, I have identified myself with the experiences going on around me. I have identified myself with the body, with the mind, with the emotions. And that's what's creating my pain. Now, through that journey of awakening, it was really doing the work, because the pain was there at such a high intense level. So every morning it was journaling for me, or taking even 10 minutes to say, I am not these circumstances. I choose to be tapped in and tuned in. Now, here's the beautiful thing about these spiritual gifts. They are not reserved for just a few people. Every one of us has spiritual gifts. And some of our gifts are maybe more obvious than others. When we look at somebody else that we may deem as being spiritually gifted, for example, we might be comparing ourselves. Like, I can't give readings to other people, or I can't see the future. I can't open up that part of me that's been shut down. Or one of my clients even had a core belief that she was spiritually defective. And again, it's those belief systems that block our spiritual gifts. So we want to look at what are spiritual gifts and how do we know they're showing up. And being empathic, being able to feel what other people are feeling, for example, is a spiritual gift. But many people look at that as a curse, because they haven't learned how to use the gift of empathy to facilitate their own journey. They haven't looked at the gift as empathy as a spiritual gift, because it has caused them pain. But when you're able to walk into a room and sense the frequency of the room, or the energy of what others are putting off, it also helps you be mindfully aware that I'm the creator, so I can intentionally put love into this room. And it also helps you to know that which person in this room could use just a listening ear, or some companionship that says, I hear you, I see you. What person in the room could use a sense of connection? And that's where we as light workers can step in, and without going into that this person is broken and they need me to fix it. That's not what we're doing. We're holding the space of love in the room. So our empathic gift is a gift of sensitivity. Isn't that beautiful? And on Saturday, we're going to go through a worksheet that will actually have you question some questions that will help spark some interest of what are my spiritual gifts and how can I use them on a daily basis. But being able to check in with yourself and say, I am spiritually gifted. I am developing those gifts. And those gifts are blocked when I move into fear of the future, worry. And I understand that I am the creator of that even. So putting your hand on your heart and saying, I forgive myself for blocking my own spiritual gifts. And it could be that we are afraid of our spiritual gifts. I've had individuals who, as children, they were able to sense spirits, and so they didn't want that, scared them. And so they shut down their spiritual gift. And we just honored that. That's okay. And seeing a spirit can be really scary for a child that's not aware of how to channel that spiritual gift. So let's look at your own spiritual gifts, and all of us on the call are feelers. That means we have the gift of clairsentient. We can feel what other people feel. When we are empathic, we're using our clairsentient gift. And sometimes it might be an instant download of a feeling or a gut feeling that you're having. And it could be even, I don't know why, but I know that this feels off. And that's a claircognizant gift. That's a clear knowing. Now, clairvoyant would mean that you have the ability to see things. And if you are, one of your spiritual gifts is clairvoyant, and let me add this, we have all of the clairs. We have all of the spiritual gifts. We have just developed some more than others. And so Saturday's training is designed to raise our level of awareness to the gifts that we currently have and then expand them to use to open up our other gifts. Okay, so if we look at clairvoyant, the gift of visionary is I have dreams at night and I remember my dreams. That's a clairvoyant gift. And you'll notice as you're doing your inner work, your dreams are going to be more clear. And learning how to interpret your dreams is a fun portion of the class that we'll go into. But learning the symbolism behind dreams and what they are teaching me. And then if you visualize, for example, when you close your eyes, you can visualize things. That would also be a clairvoyant gift. I can visualize my ideal career. I can visualize my ideal sanctuary space. That is strengthening that muscle to use that gift. And then clairaudient means that I have a clear hearing. And that would be thoughts that drop into your experience. That would be hearing. Even you might be able to hear a voice, a spirit voice. You may be able to hear one of your beloveds speaking to you from the other side. And when that has happened to me, I will write it down and say, that's not something, I'll notice, that's not something that I would say. Where did that thought come from? And even asking for, I would like to hear you. I would like to see you. Show me what that looks like. And asking to see, asking to hear, asking to feel will help open up those gifts. And noticing any fears that get in the way of blocking those gifts. And let's look for just a moment, why and how do we block our natural given clairs, our natural given spiritual gifts? We do that by doubting them. Oh, I must have made that up. Remember, we are the creator of our reality. So the moment that we put a thought on that says, well, I can't do it, we block it. So if you're one of those that say, oh, I'm not capable, I just can't do it. We've all done that. Put your hand on your heart, and I forgive myself for doubting my spiritual gifts. And breathe that in. Now, I know one of the biggest blocks that I created in my spiritual gifts is the fear of being judged by others for having strange experiences that other people would call strange, but that were very near and dear to me. And so those are like casting your pearls before swine, I think is the statement. And being mindfully aware of I shut down my spiritual gifts because I don't want to feel too different from the norm out there. I don't want to be weird. I don't want to be too weird. Fear of what other people think. Fear we're going to be too different. Fear we're wrong. What if we're wrong on this? That's a big one. And then the analytical mind kicks in and says, well, I need proof of this. So this morning, when I was out with the sun, as the sun was coming up and everything was frozen, and there was this steam coming up from my chairs and from the deck. It was really beautiful in the sunlight. And our grapevines are beginning to get leaves on them, and there was some dew on the grapevine. And the sun was hitting that dew and it was sparkling. So, you know how it'll go white when the sun hits it? This was really unusual. It was going orange and yellow and red and green. And it was sparkling these different colors. And it called my attention and I became fixated on it as I breathed. And the miracle of life happening around us that we miss because we're in our analytical thinking mind. How can that be? And for me, when I'll say, oh, that looks like a sign for me. And when I have these cool experiences like that, and I've mentioned the one with the circle on the wall, the perfect circle being reflected through my door, and I couldn't find a circle that would cause that reflection. And I would ask, and I asked this morning, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it looks like a star that is blinking at me, that is communicating almost Morse code. Tap, 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 tap. And I sat with it and I breathed it in. It was beautiful. And I heard the words, just because you don't know how a little miracle happens doesn't mean there are not miracles that are happening all around you. Our analytical mind is always looking for, how is this happening? Or how can my body heal? Or how can I have all my needs met? How can I pay these bills this month? How can I move forward when my body's not functioning? And we get caught up in how. So I want to encourage you to, for your growth work in your journal, acknowledge all the places or the statements that you say, how is that going to happen? Instead, replace that with, miracles have happened in my life before and they can continue to happen. And I call these things to me for my learning and for me. That none of this is being done to me, it's for me and for my greater learning of awakening. We're calling the whole journey of life to us, the relationships, the health, the emotions, the thoughts. We're calling all of it to us because it's through that discomfort that we really awaken and discover our spiritual gifts and tap into them. Isn't that beautiful? So take some deep breaths and let's see. I would like to give you some tools today to assist you in tapping into what's correct for you. And one of the things I want to impart here is when anyone shows up in your life that says to you, I have the answers for you, and this is how you should be living your life, and you need to do this and this and this, and I have the authority to tell you that, that's when you need to question that person's authority. Meaning, you always have the answers for yourself. You always have that personal authority. And when a government or an institution or even a religion says, I have the answers for you, it can really cause a lot of pain for people because they were taught to not trust themselves. Even your parents that say, I know better than you do what's right for you. And as we practice this every day, centering ourselves every morning, first thing in the morning, I am centered, I'm grounded. Breathe that in. What does that feel like? And if you're not feeling that connection or that centeredness or groundedness, go out and step on the earth with your bare feet. That will be a tool to facilitate. It's called earthing. And we get grounded and earthed. The earth reduces inflammation in the body, by the way, which is really beautiful. So a lot of times as children, we were taught, don't trust yourself. I have the answer for you more than you do. And so we learn not to feel safe trusting ourselves, and we look to other people to give us the answers. Whereas for all of us life coaches, we know that our purpose is to hold the space of love. We hold this space. The ascended masters, when they did healing, they didn't go in with the intention to fix what was broken. That connotes the person can't heal. But when they go in and hold this space that this person is already healed, in some dimension they are healed, they are whole. And as light workers, we can hold that space for ourselves as well as others. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. Who you are is love. And as I see that in you, as I see how capable you are and how healed you are, and you then have the faith that you also can access that belief, then the healing happens. And what we do in the morning is we realign to the healed version of ourselves. We are doing the healing. We are taking the time to heal the body, mind, and emotions when we can hold the space that it is done. I am healed. And we feel what that could possibly feel like. Now, I will say when the body is speaking loud in pain, this is very challenging, but don't give up on it. Notice throughout the day the reprieve of pain that may come in, the spaces where you don't feel that pain. Say, thank you for showing me what healing feels like. I know that I can heal. I am designed to heal. And think about this when you're in pain, when the body is in pain, what do we do? When somebody has a headache, they'll hold their head. We naturally touch what might be feeling pain and we rub it because our hands are our 11th chakras centers. They're in our palms of our hands and they put off a lot of energy. Leslie learned this in her pranic healing training, which was really beautiful. I got to be on the receiving end of that and feeling Reiki, same thing, when I've had Reiki sessions. And when we do healing circles, which would be something that would be fun to schedule, part of the training, we can do a 30-minute healing circle where we get to use our gifts and channel that energy. Okay, so now what we've done is we've opened the door to our spiritual gift, that who I am is loved, loving, and lovable. I've just blocked myself from that knowledge temporarily. So now we're giving ourselves permission to feel differently. breath work. As you put your hands on your heart, deep breathe. And we can do this to the count of 5 to really expand our abdomen. And so we go to the center of the heart where that God code is written, and we access that energy frequency. And on the in-breath, we access that light and imagine seeing it. If you can't feel it or you feel blocked from it, just imagine a little flicker of light behind your heart. And then on the exhale, expand that light to go to all the cells of your body. And we repeat, God is, divine creator, whatever word, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, whatever word that fits your belief system, use that word. Prime creator is, source is, God is. And what we're doing is we're acknowledging those particles of God that are already within us, that were in the creation of who we are. In this consciousness, we were created with that love. And all we're doing is accessing that love. God is, I am. And really, there's nothing more to say than that. And let yourself feel that. God is, I am. And as we practice this throughout the day, I recommend morning, noon, and night. What we're doing is we're calming down the nervous system. We're calming down what's going on up here and the emotions that may be dysregulated. And we're coming back to this simple tool of presencing, because that's where God is in this present. Okay, so we're accessing it, and now we're expanding it. And now can we bring in the possibility that I can trust that I am spiritually gifted, and I can use the past to go into those moments where I had a download, or those moments that I felt peace for no reason. Those moments I felt abundance of good things for no reason. Or I was standing by the ocean and I just felt this connection to the ocean, or a connection to the trees and flowers around me. And imagine walking there right now and bringing in that same feeling that you had then. That moment where you felt extreme peace just envelop your body. We've all had a moment, these little miracles that have happened. And as we access that from the past, we bring it to the present, which builds faith and trust in our abilities to connect. I can get the answers I am seeking. And breathe that in. So coming back to, I am not broken. I do not need to be fixed. I'm aware of what blocks I put in the way of my connection, of my spiritual gifts. I'm willing to reframe that by saying who I am is love, loving, and lovable. I forgive myself for putting those blocks there. I'm able to rate my emotional scale. I'm able to rate my SUDS. I'm able to separate myself from those things. And then I reframe and I use the past that worked, something that worked from the past, to bring into this present. And I remind my heart that we have the answers. They are here. God is, and I am. So here's the thing, we don't need to become more spiritual. This is a false belief that was programmed into us. We already are. The God code is already written within us. What we're doing is practicing accessing it through the heart work and through the breath work. And so right now, while we're in this space, I'm going to just encourage us to go into that heart center, breathe it in, breathe it larger, send it out to the cells of your body. Thank you for this healing in my body. Thank you for the healing in my thoughts. Thank you for the healing of my emotions. Thank you for the correction to help me see the truth of this situation. Thank you for helping me to remember that I do know what to do and how to do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now I send this energy out to the rest of the room, to you all, that you may feel the love and the light that you are, that you may carry that light with you throughout this week and hold this space of light for others around you, your children, your partners, your beloveds, your family members, your friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you for their healing, for their remembering, for their awareness. And now let's send this energy outside of our rooms and our homes, our communities, our city, and to our country. And really send a lot of that to the White House as well. That those individuals will access their spiritual knowing, that they have the answers that can help elevate our planet as we hold this space of love and light. I am loved, loving, and lovable, and so are you. And send it all the way around our beautiful Gaia as we celebrate Earth Week. Celebrate the Earth this week and next week into a planetary awareness of how beautiful our Earth is, and that feminine energy that envelops of nurturing and growing, new growth as we celebrate spring. And we send that energy up North America and South America and all the way around our globe, latitudinal and longitudinal. And feel that energy of light and love and sparks go through the planet and then off to our starseed beings and intergalactic beings and other planets and galaxies. And feel that love, just fill our cup and run over. Do you feel that just running over? Isn't that beautiful? All right, if you enjoyed today, share it with your friends and invite them to come along Saturday. The training will be here in my home in South Jordan, and will be a beautiful, intimate setting, and you can join virtually or in person. And the details of the event are on the Facebook Awaken Within page, and I posted them in our thread. So thank you all for joining. Create a blissful life today and throughout the rest of the week. Namaste.
Thank you.